Good afternoon, everyone. And as you know, my name is Zenzi Sewa. And today my guest is Larry Easto. Larry was a lawyer, a coach, a writer. In fact, he's done many things. But of course, our talk is about how their spiritual awakening affected their life, how they came to their spiritual awakening and what they've done with it so far, and if they're doing things for other people. So it's about listening to the journey and finding if it resonates with you. So without much ado, Larry, welcome.
Good to be here. Good to be here.
And I need to say that I'm in London and Larry's in Toronto, Canada. So my guests come from all over the world. And to just show you that we're all going through our different experiences and we're all over the world. So it resonates with everyone. So Larry, let's hear your story. How did your spiritual awakening occur? When did it occur? How has it affected you? Take it from
I have to be honest. I've had more than one. I've had several spiritual awakenings, and we only have a short period of time. So I don't want to do the full journey. I think the most recent one is probably the most significant because I've given it more thought than some of the earlier ones.
Well, before you start with the most recent one, it would be good to hear how the earlier ones. What was your life like when the earlier ones actually came upon you, so to speak? What was going on in your life when those earlier ones started?
Okay. I think I'll just talk about one because it was pretty dramatic. By way of background, I had traveled from Toronto to, I guess, Mexico. Yeah, Mexico, and I was having a great time in Mexico. I came back. And I thought I had tourist revenge, some diarrhea, that kind of thing coming back,
Okay.
and it wasn't very pleasant. It wasn't very pleasant, and I was, instead of going to my own place, my own apartment, I stayed with my parents because my own apartment. My mother looked after me better than I could on my own. And I started to get worse and worse and worse. And finally, they called the doctor, who was a close personal friend of mine. And he heard the symptoms on the phone and said, get him to the hospital, get him to the hospital. So I went to the hospital, and it was kind of interesting because at the time I was working for an organization that did drug and alcohol rehabilitation, and I didn't do the rehab or the counseling. I was working in community development, and I had trained the emergency room staff in terms of crisis intervention from a chemical point of view, and they knew that I'd gone to Mexico, so they thought that I'd gone to Mexico and tangled with some bad drugs and had a bad drug experience down there. So anyway, they admitted me, and I was starting to hallucinate and getting apparently really bad. I don't remember, but this is what people were telling me. Wound up that I wound up with a diagnosis of typhoid fever, which was fairly rare. I was the second person in the history of the hospital to have it. Okay. And I remember one time, and I remember this as clear as day. I was lying on the bed in the intensive care unit, and I felt myself rising from the bed, rising up, looking down at myself in the bed with my family nearby and the medical people nearby. And a deep voice said, "It's okay, Larry, it's not your time." And so I went back down to my bed. I could see myself going back down to my bed. And I recovered. I recovered. Obviously, I recovered because I'm here today. So looking back at that, a couple of things. When all of the medical equipment, the charts went flat, and so the explanation was it was a near-death experience, that I had the out-of-body near-death experience, and it was kind of strange and kind of scary at the time. Well, not for me, but the other people, it was kind of scary. But what really struck me at that time was this deep voice, who I'm prepared to say was God, telling me it wasn't time. There was things yet I had to do. And that was a pretty remarkable kind of experience. And I eventually got back to work after that, and I've been off work, I guess, 2 months, 3 months. And I was thinking, when I arrive at my office, my desk is going to be covered with paper, covered with pink slips to phone back, and paperwork to be attended to, and all that kind of thing. I arrived and my desk was perfectly clear, not a piece of paper on it. And I guess my face fell. Like, I guess they don't need me. I guess they don't need me. And my secretary saw what was going on, and she said, "It's okay, Larry. We took care of everything when you were away."
Yeah.
And I said, "Oh, really?" And she said, "But there's, we've got a whole list of things for you. So there's a bunch of things for you to do, but so you can relax. You don't have to do the old stuff. There's new stuff coming in. Just relax."
Yeah.
And I think the lesson I had from that is that we're not indispensable. We are not as important as we think we are.
Yeah.
This was a small operation. There's myself and a secretary, and it was part of a larger organization. And the larger organization just sent somebody in to take my place. And they did all the routine work, all the busy work. So when I got back, I could pick up the pieces from where I'd left off. So that was a pretty, especially, I was in my 20s. So, 20-year-old lawyer thinking that he's dispensable. Whoa, that's a shock to the system, because when you're 20, you think you have all the answers to all the questions that have ever been asked.
And you're so valuable.
Oh, totally. So that was the first one. And I think at that time, my takeaway from that was I learned to just back off. Just back off. You do not have to be involved in absolutely everything. You do not have to have control of absolutely everything. Sometimes it's best to just let it be, let things unfold. And again, that's what happened. Nobody knew what was going on. It's only because as I said, I was the second person in the history of the hospital who had typhoid fever. One of the nurses actually diagnosed it. A nurse from the Philippines diagnosed it. She remembered people with typhoid from the Philippines. So they got a medical book about how to treat typhoid fever, which was in the room with me, so I could read it along with the doctors. And at the time I was a lawyer and a fast reader. I processed information really quickly. So they tell me something, I'd pick up the book and find out about typhoid fever. So that was kind of an interesting experience. But it was kind of mellowing, toned me down a little bit, made me more realistic, more appreciative. And the fact that it wasn't my time. Okay, so let's do some other things. So that was pretty dramatic. That was a dramatic start. My most recent awakening, we called it that, happened about 3 years ago, just over 3 years ago. My wife and I moved from the suburbs of Toronto to downtown, and we had a suburban house, 1,800 square feet, two-car driveway, garage, backyard, 3 bedrooms, and our kids had moved away, and the place was too big for us. We were tired of the neighborhood, so we moved downtown. We moved from an 1,800 square foot place to a 1,000 square foot apartment there's a lawn, but I don't have to cut it. And at the time, I remember thinking, this is going to be a life-changing experience for us. And it really has been. Since moving, since we moved about 3 years ago, first of all, I found the spiritual home that I think I spent my entire life looking for. A magnificent building in a wonderful community. And that was a huge breakthrough. From a productivity point of view, it went through the roof. I wrote 2 books and a training course in 2 years. I'd written 2 full-length books and a 12-lesson video course. So it was right through my productivity had never been that good before. I'm in better health than better physical health than I've been in years and years and years. I'm spiritually I'm really really sound. I'm better than I've been in a long time. So it's been great. And the big takeaway for me was the value of letting go. We did an absolutely ginormous letting go of 26 years worth of collecting things and of our kids growing up and moving away. And it wasn't easy. It was really painful. It was brutal is what it was. But when I look back at it, it was the the quintessential letting go. We let go of a lot of things and made room for new experiences and new opportunities and new beginnings. So it was bang on with my part of my personal belief of letting go, moving on, new beginnings, new opportunities, letting go to move on.
Now, you've jumped, but I want to go back a bit more into the spiritual side. So people, each one of us go through different things that do shape us, but not only that, to awaken us. I mean, as you said, your first spiritual encounter was when you went to Mexico, came back, and you heard that voice, and it said it wasn't your time, and you came back into your body. And after going through that illness and going back to work, you realized that you were not indispensable. And obviously that was a lesson for you, but what were the other spiritual lessons that have brought you to this understanding today, and helped you to write those books and different things? What were the other spiritual experiences that you had?
Okay, good question. In some respects, I've always been fairly spiritual. Initially, it was connection to a church. I was responsible for getting my parents to we lived in the lived not in Toronto, lived outside Toronto. And when I was a teenager, I wanted to go to church, so I encouraged my parents to go to a small Anglican church, Church of England, not too far away. So I was the one that got them going there. And it was all, I mean, it was church as I knew it. And the spiritual connection, the worshiping and the worship services were good. Later on, and I was there, but it was more, my head wasn't in it, but I for some reason I had to be there. When I went to university, my intention was to become a priest, and I spent half a day in priest-theology, and I really didn't like the people there, and I couldn't see myself spending 3 years with them, let alone the rest of my life. So I got out of that. So it's been there. Fast forward to when I was about 30, about 40, I was practicing law in a small town in rural Ontario. And in some respects, it was idyllic. I could walk to work, and we had the big house and the dog and the cars, and as a lawyer in the community, I knew everybody and their bank account number, and we were so much a part of the community. We didn't have to walk very far. Everything, the doctor, dentist, church, bank, everything, my office, all within walking distance of home. So that was nirvana. I started to get bored with it. And my wife was also getting bored with life in a small town, and we were concerned our kids would not have growing room there, because we figured that they would be quite bright as well. So I wound up going to a weekend workshop conducted by Matthew Fox, the theologian, not the actor, and I was introduced to the idea of creation spirituality, and it just absolutely blew me away. It just, wow, where has this been all my life? And I enjoyed it so much that I thought, okay, so let's, and my wife and I talked about it, we decided, okay, let's go away and take this master's in spirituality program that Matt was doing in Oakland, California. So sold the practice, sold the law practice, sold the house, moved the family to California for me to work on my master's in spirituality. Well, it didn't work because the lawyer to whom I sold my law practice, to use jargon, stiffed me. He didn't pay me what he said he would, so we had to come back to Canada. So I didn't have the experience of taking the course, but I had the experience of creation spirituality in practice.
Let me stop you there. You're talking about creative spirituality that you went on this workshop. Can you explain to everybody what is creative spirituality?
That's exactly what I was going to do. You're reading my mind. It's creation spirituality. It's basically four phases, four cycles. I guess 4 phases of creation spirituality. First phase is via creativa, being born. It's the beginning of life, our beginning as human beings, or the start of something. The second stage is via negativa. That's the death. That's when it's over. So via creativa could be considered spring. Okay. And via negativa is the letting go of dead stuff, letting go of things that no longer serve you. The next stage comes via transformativa, which is a rebirth, a renewal. So that would be like spring again.
Yeah, this
Okay.
the like 4 seasons.
And then the fourth one is via positiva, negativa, transformativa, creativa, creating new things, creating a new world. Okay, so just to put it in my own situation, the moving into the place, moving into the old place was via positiva. Okay, moving out was via negativa. Okay, via transformativa was the 3 years getting used to the new environment, new people, and all that kind of stuff. Yeah,
the transition.
And now I'm into via creativa, which is helping, which is creating new things, creating things to make a difference for others. Okay.
All right, that makes sense.
And it's a fascinating process. And it dates from the 14th century, so it's not new, but it's a fascinating concept. And what I really like about it is the letting go, moving on, the via negativa and the via transformativa. And it's like cleaning all the leftovers out of the fridge to make room for fresh, clean food. It's like dumping the wineskin, dumping the stale old wine out of the wineskin to put fresh wine in there. It's like getting rid of things so you can start all over again. And that's the element of gracious spirituality that just totally resonates with me. Among the books during the pandemic, I wrote a book called New Beginnings, New Opportunities, Letting Go, Moving On. And it was intended to serve the purpose of saying, hey, we can get through this. It's letting go. We have to let go of things. So what new opportunities are going to come from it? And so I wrote that book, and it's interesting because when I finished the 2 other books I had, I wound up with 2 books and a training course. And I thought, I don't want to market all 3 projects. That's a lot to market. So I cut out the second book, but I combined it with my letting go book, with my New Beginnings, New Opportunities book from the pandemic, which I'm now giving away free, and we'll give you the points on that at the end of the conversation. So what I've done is let go of a lot of information that I intended for a book, let it go. So now I'm repurposing it in another format. So that's just the whole idea of letting go, repurposing, moving on. It really excites me. And so that's part of my spiritual, I guess, philosophy. I mean, out my back window, there's spring is happening.
Yeah.
And we're sitting on the patio yesterday saying we can almost forget winter because it's so nice out there. So it's the rhythms of life. And so that's why that's why it really resonates with me.
It's the same here in London, and what you just said resonates with me very well, because life is really in our faces, and we just need to think about it and look at it and in a way move with the flow. Because as you was talking, I saw the 4 seasons, and it's the 4 seasons of life that we have here.
Oh, absolutely.
And there's winter, and then from winter you go into spring, from spring you go into summer, and from summer you go into autumn.
Exactly.
And winter, everything's dead.
Yeah.
Spring, things started to come to life. Summer, we flourish, and then we start to wind down. And then go back into a sleep state where we can, and it is letting go of everything, ready for the new beginnings and the transformation, and then the creativity.
Exactly. And it's an ongoing process. It's round and round and round and round and round. But it from a spiritual perspective, ideally we go deeper and deeper. So it's like a spiral going down.
Yes, and each stage of our life, you know, you're born as a child and you're learning, and you go through different stages of learning as you grow, and you
Right.
come into adolescence, and then you come to adulthood, and then from adulthood you go into maturity. But each stage you're going deeper and deeper and understanding more. And I know as I'm getting older, you do let go of things.
Sure.
Like the law, you realize you're not indispensable,
Yeah. Oh,
but
yeah.
things go on, and I suppose you can become less pretentious, more yourself, because you start to
I,
realize what things are. But you're continually in those four cycles through life, and just
oh, yeah.
churning and
Oh,
churning
yeah.
and maturing.
Couple of other interesting things to fit into that. One is a number of years ago, I took a photography course. This was pre-digital. This was when we used to use film, and I took it was a Nikon photography course, and it was an amazing course. And one of the things we had to do was go and find a square foot of grass and just
Mhm.
spend an hour watching that square foot. They go, wow, oh, that's going to be really exciting. But you do it, you really pay attention to what's happening in that small piece of ground. There's all sorts of things happening. There is all sorts of things happening there. So that really points out the importance of awareness.
Yeah.
And sometimes we're so busy looking at the horizon, we don't see the flowers in front of us. So
Yes.
slow down and smell the flowers, kind of thing. So I think that was a really valuable learning experience. And a few years ago, my main for the past X number past I don't know, probably 20, 30 years, my primary focus has been helping self-employed professionals market, or not market, but succeed in their business.
Yeah.
And about 4 or 5 years ago, I was taking a webinar because I wanted to learn how to do copywriting, because it wasn't one of the things I did well. And the two people were doing the webinar, and they just went on and on and on. The message they were giving was, if you do things exactly the way we tell you, you are going to be successful. And I found myself thinking, I can't do that. Those aren't my skills. And I got really angry at this webinar, which was crazy. But I'm thinking, this is insane. So I'm thinking, why can't business people, why can't if business is all about relationships, why can't we just be ourselves? Why can't we just make friends rather than sell things? And so I came up with the idea of authentic marketing. And authentic marketing is basically, attract clients the way you would make friends. Well, we play with that for a little bit. If you want to make a friend, you're not going to lie to them. You're not going to push things at them. You're not going to be nasty to them. You're going to be your true, authentic self. So
Yes.
when we combine the awareness of our environment with the importance of being our true, authentic self, that really helps with the personal growth and the spiritual journey, because you don't have to listen to what everybody's telling you have to do. When somebody says you should do this, you can say, thank you for sharing it. I'm doing it my way. I'm doing it what's right for me.
Do you know, I'm so happy what you're saying, because it is about us waking up, listening to things, and finding our own truth within that, and using it where we feel it's best in our own way. And it is, as you said, you're listening to these webinars when they're telling you do it this way. No, you take in that information, and if it resonates with you, then you can use it in the way that's best for you. And by doing that and putting it out to other people in an honest, open-hearted way, and people seeing your honesty, you are, it works better. And, and
Absolutely.
they either will or they won't, but it's fine,
Yeah.
because
Oh, yeah.
you
Yeah.
can, as you say, you can make friends with that. And it's so important, our communication, our connection with people, just being people and being
Oh,
ourselves, and
absolutely.
not
Absolutely. Yeah.
lying to get
Yeah.
what we want,
Yeah.
because we will be successful whichever way. When it's coming from the heart and when it's the right thing for us, we will find it.
Totally. And another, I guess, key element of yeah, it's probably my spiritual journey. Um, early on, as in my work as a consultant, I guess, I took a course in experiential learning. And as
Mm,
adults, we learn by experience, not by
mm,
being told what to do, or not by, like, kids learn by being instructed, adults learn by experience. And
mm.
we've heard how many times, experience is the best teacher, but nobody really tells us how to learn from experience. So
Ah,
a number of years ago, I took a university course in experiential learning. So I learned how adults learn. I learned how adults learn. So from that, I learned how to help adults learn. And so from there, my approach in dealing with clients, and in my writing, anything I do, it's not pontificating. It's not saying this is the rule. This is what you have to do. It's helping them learn from experience. And that's all about, well, what happened? How could it have been better? How can we apply that lesson to our situation over here? So
yeah.
combine that with all of the other, with the letting go and the increased
Yes.
awareness and the authenticity. All of these factors slide in. Now, the unfortunate thing is it total opposite of what's happening in the world today with social media, and if somebody can read, they're an expert. I had a relative one time, and this was a number of years ago. He came across something online that helped him prepare a will. So and this I was surprised. It was after I stopped practicing law. He says, "Well, I'm going to start preparing wills for people." And I said, "Well, how can you do that?" And he said, "Well, there's a program online. I can get to do it." Okay. And so they're just, if people can read something, they almost see themselves as an expert, or if not an expert, at least have an opinion.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
life's not quite that easy.
No, no. And I think this is what we need to understand, that even though we read, we do courses, we do all these different things to gain knowledge and to help ourselves, at the end of the day, it is about taking that information in and understanding it from our point of view, and knowing how then to use it if it's right for us. Because
Exactly.
sometimes we sometimes, and I've done it myself, I've gone on courses and done different things, and oh yeah, yeah, no, but really when you sit back, my heart's not really there,
Yeah,
because it's not me.
exactly.
I'm appreciative of the knowledge and understanding what they're saying, but it's not me. And
Oh,
until
yeah.
you can take in and find something that resonates and make you feel, yeah, this is me, this
Oh,
I can
absolutely.
do,
Yeah,
and you enjoy doing it. And if you haven't got that, then that's not right for you.
totally. Just totally. I mean, if you're driven by passion, nothing is going to stop you.
Exactly.
If you're driven by shoulds and nots, everything is going to stop you.
Oh yeah. Yes. And it doesn't feel right if you're just driven by the money, then and you think it's all that. No,
Yeah.
it's a lot more. There's a lot of
Okay.
people out there with lots of money. They not happy. They're not, sorry to say, not very nice people, because sometimes when they're connected with other people, they're not nice, their
Mhm.
attitude. So life is much more that
Oh, yeah.
we human beings, there's much more to us. Each one of us are unique with our own gift.
Absolutely, absolutely, yeah, and we get so used to as kids, we were told what to do and what not to do. Fair enough, because adults know what's safe and what's not safe. But there
Yeah.
comes a time when we, and I'm guilty of this myself, still doing things that are still an old tape running. Somebody say
Yes.
you shouldn't do this, so I don't do it. Now I'm thinking, well, I can do that. I'm a big boy. I can handle that. And if it doesn't work out well, I can handle it.
Yeah.
So we have all of these old tapes running, and although in some respects I'm fairly confident, I've done lots of things, I can do lots of things, I continue to learn new ways of
Yes.
getting rid of the obstacles,
Yes.
and
And it
and
and it and it
it's
is
wonderful.
it is about keeping your mind open,
Oh yeah.
because we don't know everything. It doesn't
Right,
matter
right.
how old we are, we're still learning and things are coming up all the time. And you need to look at it. And sometimes you feel, oh, that's a bit easier. Oh, I can fit that in. It'll help you to do what you're enjoying a bit, in a much better
Absolutely.
way.
Oh yeah. And
It's new
even things that we believed at one time may change, or
Yes,
we may have a different interpretation of it.
yes. Because it served its purpose at that time.
Exactly.
Because we've grown now, we've seen
Yeah,
something else. It no longer serves that purpose to
sure.
get us from where we are. And we need to
And
realize,
yeah,
and
and it
that's
goes
what we know.
sure, and it goes back to what I was talking about in terms of letting
Letting
go of
go.
attitudes that no longer serve you, letting go of things that no longer serve you. I let go of my
Absolutely.
tricycle a whole bunch of years ago. I let go of my car a couple of years ago. So, it's letting go of things that no
Yeah.
longer serve you.
And it is about not being afraid to let go.
Totally, just totally. I did a meditation yesterday, and a person was saying breathing is an act of faith. When you exhale, you have faith you're going to be able to inhale.
Yes,
The act,
automatically.
but you don't go without knowing there's going to be more coming back in. And so
Yes.
but we don't realize, yeah, that's a good, anyway.
Life is life is the same thing. There's so much of it. Everything is there in
Oh,
abundance
yeah.
for us.
Oh,
So
yeah.
just we use it, let go. Don't worry. There's plenty there if
Oh,
it's right
yeah.
for
Oh,
you.
yeah. Lots to go around. Lots to go around.
And if it resonates with your energy and being, it's there's enough there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Larry, tell us about because as you said, you've created courses and written books. Tell us a bit more about your books and your courses, please.
Okay. The big book now, the main book is a book called How to Succeed in Your Professional Service Business. And this is available online at bookstores around the world. It's for people, coaches, consultants, therapists, people who are in the service industry, people who care more about making a difference than the amount of money they make.
Yeah,
And what it's intended to do is to demystify the process of running a business so that you run a business as naturally as you maintain friendships. It's a pretty low key kind of mind shift.
yeah,
It's not full of business school theory and business school um, principles and all that kind of stuff. It's very user friendly, lots of exercises in there, but it's designed for people that don't want to spend a lot of time learning their business, but really want to succeed at it. And as I say, it's available at all major bookstores. And I like that. That was a fun book to do. The course is also kind of fun. The course is called Your Transformation Connection: How to Get from Where You Are to Where You Want to Be. And that starts out with a look at basic things: who you are, what your principles are, what's important to you, what do you value, what do you want to do. Builds on the law of attraction and all sorts of other factors there. It's available through my website. It's 12 lessons. Each lesson, there's about a 5-minute video lesson and a whole bunch of exercises for people. It's all about experiential learning that I talked about earlier. The
yeah,
video lesson gives the principles, and then the workbook exercise allows people to apply those principles to their own situation. So in addition to learning how to make a transformation, it's a short course in experiential learning. So it's a value added kind of thing there. So those are the two biggies. I've also got a couple of free books. I like giving things away free. And I consider these thank you gifts for people taking time to listen to the podcast. I want to thank them for their time. So
yeah,
there's two books. They can have one or both of them available through my website. One book is 26 Ways for Service Professionals to Get New Business. It's also on Amazon, but get a freebie rather than buy it from Amazon. And 26 Ways is A to Z. How service professionals can generate more new business. A fun little book, just full of little ideas. The other one is the New Business, New Opportunities that I talked about earlier. And that's about 100 pages, I guess. And there's lots of exercises in there, but it's a more in-depth manual to make the transformation from where you are to where you want to be. Free book. It's on my website. Just go there and get the link and download it and enjoy.
Okay, so can you, for the viewers that are listening, what is your website address?
Okay, it's my name, as on the screen, larryeasto.com, or just Google my name. I'm the only one, as far as I know, I'm the only one around. So Google it, and eventually wind up at the website, or LinkedIn is another good place.
Or a LinkedIn? Yeah, fine.
Yeah.
Okay, Larry, thank you so much. I really love your experiential learning, the spiritual
Experiential, experience,
experience,
experiential,
experiential
because it's based on experience.
spirituality, because it's I'm gonna say it's just down to earth, but it's very earthly because it's the cycle of, you can say it's the cycle of
Oh,
life,
absolutely.
and
It's learning from what we've done.
yes,
And it is so easy. And again, yeah, the How to Succeed book is based on those principles. So there's lots of self-study
Mhm.
questions in there. So again, in the book I present ideas and content, and then there's exercises in the book. I present content, and then there's a case study, how it's applied, and then there's questions for how people can apply the principle to their own situation. So
Lovely.
it's a perfect example of experiential learning, and so is the transformation marketing course. Not transformation connection course. It's as I said, about 5 or 6 minutes of video, and then lessons, in-depth lessons to go into. And it just occurred to me. I am, and I don't want to go down this road, but just by way of reference, I'm a highly sensitive person. HSP is a neurodiversity. 20 to 30% of us are HSP. Not
Mhm.
very well known, not a big deal. But if somebody is HSP, they get a 20% discount on the course.
Okay,
Sorry, 25% discount on the course, and that's on the order form. You just have to complete the order form, and you get a 25% discount on the course right across the board.
good. So if people need any of that information, or even to request the free book that you're given, they just need to go to larryeasto.com.
Correct.
Good. Larry, thank you so much for your time. As I
Thank
said,
you.
it's been wonderful.
It's
As I
fun.
said, that resonated at those 4 seasons. It's like, yes, yes, this is life. Everything, our
Yeah.
planet, our plants, everything. It's all in a cycle. Even the way we should eat should be seasonal.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And we'll get everything that we want, and it's there in front of our faces, and we don't realize
Oh
it.
yeah.
But Larry, Mr. Larry Easto, thank you so much. And for all
Thank you.
my visitors today, thank you for joining us. Until next time, bye for now.